transformed. I'm charming. I'm good looking and in shape, but bored. I need something to do next. Another challenge to conquer. Please give it to me. Since there is no ultimate good to defer to, you have to know what you want so that you can ask yourself the right questions. Charles Bukowski, Jordan Peterson, Neil Strauss. I like these guys. Add some salt to cover up the bitterness of middle-aged soccer moms and put in the oven for 45 minutes. Optionally, you can take from all this stuff what you want and leave the rest. So enjoy Fuck Files. 15 lessons from a decade of women, now on audio.
From the author and content creator that brought you the heartfelt, the F trophies for clout, the 6-foot-tall Tate, and the not funniest member of Rule Zero, Volume 2, Dread.
'79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
There she is. Morning. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Good morning. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. What's my stupid prime minister say? He picked the randomest holiday to say today. I didn't even look at it. Let me pull it up again. Maybe one of you guys know. Is this a real country or is he just messing with us? Where is it? There it is. Yalda. Some holiday called Yalda, and it involves a pile of tomatoes on a plate. And it looks like an AI generated thing. Is Yalda a thing? Is that a real thing? Which generation is that? What demographic of Canadians exists to have that? Anyways, today, so if you see, I've had the numbers on the episodes. This one is 1, which means there's the 0. The 0. I'm not going to spoil that surprise there, but definitely going to have some changes happening anyway. Where to get started? Where to even start? That's the big question. Let me turn off studio mode so I can see the stuff. Where to start? I'm going to start about the books. Look, it finally came in today. Praxeology, Volume 3. I enjoy this thing. It's a beast. I'm loving it. I looked at the stylistic choices I made on the art design for the book. Very happy with that. I'm very happy with how that turned out. I love it. So I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this a lot. And you're going to buy it. Because otherwise, what the hell are we doing here? You want to talk about Sydney Sweeney again? Do you really? I guess I'll do some announcement stuff too. So, The Dog Walker. That's the other book. That's the one. That's my passion project. That's the one that I think is really going to do well. It's not that I'm leaving the Manosphere. Rolo likes to make fun of me on that one. Nobody can ever leave. You'll be back. And I'm like, it's not really that I'm leaving. It's just that I'm kind of shifting focus. And so I keep telling you guys, like, what is it you do after you've done everything? Because like I've written the book on just about every concept that the Red Pill had and came up with. Short of the ones that already had books. Like, I'm not going to redo Rational Male. He's already got that one going. Morning. So I'm like, all right. So everything that we've done over the last 10 years, there it is. It's all there as succinctly as possible. What now? And then it was like, well, Roland and I talked about this. It's like, where's the creative stuff? Where's the enjoyment? And he started it. Don't get me wrong. He started it. The Captain Savaho series with Kevin Savo. Pearl kind of ruined that whole relationship of, what doesn't she ruin? Relationships with her dad, Cole posting on Twitter. Always, you can't, redheads are the devil's color. They're the devil's color. Anyways, so I am moving. Fuck Files right now, as it stands, is almost done. Like I'm going to be taking it out of the store soon, and I'm re-releasing it with some, about like 20% more stuff. There's the infamous 13th chapter that disappeared. And the cover art for the paperback came in today, and I'm loving it. I'm loving this one too. It's more pulpy. I'm probably going to do some alterations to this. I was thinking about this, and instead of like the 6x9 format, I might make it small, like the 5.5 by 8.5. It's only like a little bit smaller, but for some reason it just, I don't know, it sits in the hand better that way. So I think that's where I'm going to go with that one. But So this one's going to be out in stores. The hardcover to it is absolutely amazing. It was actually referenced from, so I have my old night orders book from when I was in the military. I would journal my deployment stuff. Tons of good stuff in here, right? And then I thought, well, that's kind of what Fuck Files is. So why don't I? And so I've basically made this cover for the hardcover. And hardcovers are coming out for everything. You're going to love it. So yeah, I've always wanted a hardcover for Dread and Fuck Files and Frame and Praxeology. Yeah, they're all coming. They're all coming down the wire. It's like about 8 hours per book to get it all done. And it's going to be good. And then I know a lot of you guys complain too. It's like on the bookshelf, there's no consistency to them. Like the Fuck Files, for example, is Franklin Gothic. Dread is Helvetica Extended Bold. Frame is another one. It's a grotesque font. And so the hardcovers are going to be all consistent. So if you're one of those people that are like adamant about you want to have everything line up, you want everything to be consistent, I think those will be coming down too. So that'll be good. Oh my God, we got the Saudi Arabian man himself, Chad of Arabia. I was so worried after that trip to Germany that you weren't coming back, sir. I'm so glad to see you're still there. Yeah, happy Yalda. Oh, Yalda's an Iranian one. Oh, why wouldn't we be cheering on an Iranian holiday in Canada? Of course. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a bit of a Middle Eastern conflict coming on in here, and it's just like the Jews are unhappy with the Muslims. The Muslims are unhappy with the Jews. The Hindus are unhappy with the Khalistanis. The Khalistanis are very unhappy with everybody. And the Canadians are unhappy with the entire mix. It's like, how many Middle Eastern ancient blood feuds do we really need in Canada? And they're like, just bring them all, man. So if you've had a grievance against another ethnic group from before the time of the birth of Christ, come on down. It's on sale today. We'll get you a police escort. You can protest in the streets, light a building or two on fire. That's just fine. Do what you got to do. The only thing you can't do, so we had a recent migrant driving a garbage truck crashed into, if you guys don't know Toronto, King Street and Spadina, which is like, Spadina is the main boulevard. It's the best way to describe it. And King Street is kind of it's not the main downtown street. It's about 4 or 5 blocks off, but it's kind of like the nice street. Anyway, somebody took out all of our streetcar cables. So now like all of our transit's down. The main boulevard is closed off. It's pretty epic. Yeah, need a wall up north. We won't need a wall pretty soon. We're just mushing shit up. It is what it is. So I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about the books then. Give them some hockey sticks. Let them sort it out on the ice. Yeah, no, that Canada's gone. But we're not here to talk about why I'm annoyed with the country right now. We're talking about the book. So Praxeology. When I wrote this one, it was nearing the end. Like Dread was finished, Frame was finished, Fuck Files was finished. Everything I wanted to do had basically been done. But I had all of this material. And I'm like, what do I do with this? And then I realized, like, like some people like fiction, but maybe some people like nonfiction too, right? Like just reading stories about people's lives, doing whatever. God knows there's been enough women who've been rubbernecking about the red pill thing to show that there's some people who just want to see like the field reports of other people. So I'm like, why don't I take, there was a huge list in the folder of like field reports that they didn't really fit into anything. Like I couldn't use them for examples on specific ideas, or they didn't really fit with a theory or with the tetrahedron of Frame or the scoreboard on Dread. And so I'm like, well, instead of wasting these, why not just take them, put them together, and make a nice, like a Reader's Digest? And I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And then Nick was like, yeah, it's like toilet reading. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Like, if you guys don't remember, when you were like really young in the 80s and 90s, before cell phones, before you could bring a cell phone to the bathroom, what people would do is they'd put a basket on their toilet bowl, like on the toilet behind the thing. And it would be filled with a bunch of just like random books. It was like, whatever. And then you would just sit there and read that because you had nothing else to do. So I'm like, yeah. And then I was looking for the art style. I'm like, dude, let's we're doing Reader's Digest. Let's do Reader's Digest. And I looked up the old Reader's Digest. It's a magazine that's been around since like 1908. So I looked through like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. Eventually I settled on like the 70s and 80s, and they had some like style that I really liked, where they had like a painting that they were doing, and then it kind of was an unfinished state. They were showing the process, and they would go straight to white or the page of the thing, and then they would show you what's inside of it, like a table of contents on the cover. And I'm like, dude, I like that style, so I went with that. And look, when you see it in the Kindle library, it's one thing, but in your hands, Jack is right. It really does look better. I think and here's the thing, you'll enjoy it, but it's like, it's a different reading experience than you might be used to. It's not meant as like a one and done, like just pick it up, read it through, it's a page turner, can't do that. It's not that. It's meant to be like sipped. You read a chapter, put it down, go do your day. If you're bored, you got half an hour to kill before an appointment, you pick it up, you read a chapter, you go about your day. It's all meant to be like that. It's like a sipping whiskey. It's not meant to be a big thing. So yeah, exactly. The old school poop break distractions. You get it. And so the idea was to bring that vibe into the red pill thing. So I'm proud of it. It's largely going to be funding a lot of the passion projects. There will be a volume 4, by the way. So I've got the whole manuscript finished. It's sitting in a folder, and I just have to do the desktop publishing and the art design and that for it, which it's not going to be difficult. I already kind of everything already laid out. So it's just a matter of like retooling it for the other one. So that one's coming. And then next year, probably, I don't even know what the timeline schedule is going to be. I have to, dude, that's the other thing. So it's weird. The weird thing here about being prolific, and I know some of you guys are workaholics and you guys have like extremely good output at your jobs. So you're probably going to understand this, where you realize you've done too much and now you have to like slow down the releases. Otherwise you're just stepping all over yourself, right? It's like releasing 2 YouTube videos in the same day. It's like, slow down. So the way it's working now is Prax is out now. Enjoy your Christmas. And then end of January is going to be the re-release of Fuck Files. It's going to be under a new author name, by the way. And I'll tell you why in that a little bit later. So the hardcover is coming out at like January 30th. And then February 6th, the paperback comes out. The Kindle, I don't know what day I'm going to put that in there. I have to redo the audiobook now too, because there's so much extra stuff in there. So that's on the list. The audiobooks are the one thing that I'm like, I got to get on this. There's like 3 I have to do now. That's a lot. That's going to be a lot. And then Valentine's Day, I'm going to be releasing the Dog Walker, which if you haven't, get on Substack, man. Like, I've released excerpts on it. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm actually a pretty decent author. Like, I don't mean nonfiction. I mean fiction. I'm pretty good at telling a story, which blew my mind. I didn't think it was the case. Dog Walker was supposed to be me practicing the skill and getting good at it for my other passion book, which is coming out. I don't even have a working title for that one yet. I just have an outline and a thing. So that's next on the go. So if you end up liking the Dog Walker, you're going to love it because there's more coming down the pipe. It's not going to be a one and done thing. Yeah, Richard Bachman. No, I just, for now, I just labeled it R.A. Stone. I couldn't think of anything clever enough to pump a whole different name to it. Yeah, not trying to brag, but proceeds to brag. Fair. You know what, though? This reminds me of the time in the military. Did I tell you? I told you guys the story where I was like so pissed off. I was so smart, and my boss is like, "Get scrubbing the toilets, you dumbass." So that guy, his name was Hannum. He actually brought this up one day when he had us like, "All right, guys," because he's kind of lazy but efficient lazy, and he's like, "Do up your PERs, your personal or professional evaluation reviews, and then send those to me, and I'll take a look at it, and then we'll figure it out, right?" So I did mine, and he goes, "I see you think pretty highly of yourself." I'm like, "Well, somebody has to." Do you want me to call myself a piece of shit? And he's like, "Fair enough." Anyways, we're going to walk this back a little bit. So yeah, you are your own career manager is what they always used to say. In this case, yeah, you are your own career manager. But hey, Penguin House doesn't want me unless I'm a black lesbian. Random House doesn't want me unless I'm a migrant lesbian, and I can't even think who the other publishing houses are, but they don't want me either. Scholastic doesn't want me unless I'm a fat lesbian. Yeah, so I get to be my own Penguin House, and that's going to be good. But I mean, and at the end of all of this, it's really about providing you guys with something, either information or entertainment, preferably both. And that's the goal with it. So Praxeology, it leans more towards the entertainment side, because if you're reading this, you kind of have to already know enough about the red pill because it's not jargon laden, But if you don't understand why certain details are important and certain ones aren't, this probably reads a lot different than if you were red-pilled and doing it. Write a book about Yalia, they'll publish it. I wish I even knew what that was. Oh, is that the Iranian holiday? Frame and Dread, they're very non-fictional. It's more informative than entertainment. Fuck Files is, again, it's closer to Praxeology, where it's somewhere in the middle, where it's got like a third entertainment and 2/3 information. Also, Ryan isn't smart, he's hardworking. Oh, thank you very much, sir. That's like the nicest thing anybody's ever said. Dog Walker is going to be, it's pure entertainment, but you'll get something from it, and it's kind of like you guys will get something more from it. This is the one thing I'm actually loving about it is I've had to remove a bunch of them, but what I'm doing is I'm putting little Easter eggs in there where it's like, oh, if you know, oh, I know what hypergamy is. And like, I never use the word hypergamy, but you look at it, you're like, I know what he's doing. Or promise keepers. Like I mentioned promise keepers on there, and intuitively you kind of understand it from the text, but you know, you guys will kind of get it. So that'll be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to it. I like the idea that, so for every book, it's going to be like 5 to 10 hours of entertainment on your side. And I just like the idea that I can take a year, buckle down, bust my ass, and then give you guys 5 to 10 hours of something. Relaxation, enjoyment, interest, just something to help you. You get like, what, 10,000 hours in your lifetime to do whatever with. And if I can help you out with 5 of them, I think it's money well spent. So that's me. Ryan and Dr. Disrespect look like a GTA Vice City NPC. There is a difference, though. Unlike Dr. Disrespect, I have no desire to message minors. To message minors and ask them if they like the size of my dick. I don't know. Something about that. If you can't go into a liquor store with me, what do we have in common? That's all I got to say. Anyways, I'm making a goal this time to get through every ad on the channel. I think we can make it. I
took my mind off the pain by reminding myself I'd be exactly 2 inches closer to the stars.
You alright? Yeah. You wanna go dancing?
Do you love dystopic science fiction? Warnings of the consequences of our hubris? Do you ache for the most masculine story you never thought about until it hits you with a ton of bricks?
What the?
Did you never in a million years think watching a man take a piss test would make you weep as much as you did for the birth of your new child? How about a future where everyone looks like the love child of a 60s beatnik and an 80s yuppie? Do you yearn for these timeless stories? Stories of the issues of today wrapped up in tomorrow, a movie that makes you remember what it means to be a man with, at most, 3 punches thrown and no gratuitous nudity? Well, I have the movie for you. In the age of the last Hollywood golden age, work of someone you never heard of, but hasn't missed in 20 years, brings you the greatest sci-fi dramatic thriller that you've ever seen. You don't even like this genre, but you love this movie more than your wife. It's the story of human potential.
Yours just happens to be an exceptional example. I don't know why my folks didn't order one like that for me.
It's a movie of overcoming the odds.
You know you're gonna lose.
It's a movie of inspiring others. It's 1984, where the good guys win. It's Gattaca, 1997.
Talk about a Debbie Downer for the channel. All right. Oh, we got a whole bunch to go through. Anyway, so like, for example, I started off the book with a letter to a dude on the margins, right? You know, I normally write breakdowns of field reports based on praxeology that we call the red pill. You normally read those breakdowns and hopefully do one of 3 things. 1, you read about the mistakes you also make, but did not know you were making, and then make corrections. You read about other people making mistakes and gain some confidence in your action plan and results. And you just love reading about this stuff like a rubbernecker slowing down traffic on the highway. For the guys who actually benefit, you're a dude on the margins. What's a dude on the margins? He's a man who would have been far better off in a different place or time, or with a different worldview, or perhaps just a little more luck. If you have found your way here through the works of my peers, both good and bad, or via clout clowns and serious people, you are familiar with charts, graphs, statistics, and bullshit. You'll see the same charts. No one who did the original study, if the study was any good, or if the chart measures the conclusions the guy is feeding you, it claims they'll do, You'll see these charts and not realize that someone is manipulating you with science, trademark. So you see, Jesus used to be great for all this. Tell people what Jesus would do and they would just do it. Nowadays, most people don't believe in Jesus, and of those who do, they don't want to be very Christ-like. They are happier with the merch than anything. Science, trademark, filled that gap by acting as an authority. Never mind science is a method, not a truth. Never mind that science doesn't prove anything but disproves things. Never mind that most people really do shitty science, and since no one checks, it never gets corrected. All charts and statistics are misleading at best and manipulative at worst. Having said that, the purpose is to show my illustrative chart that describes what a dude on the margins is, and that you are hopefully him. I say illustrative and not descriptive because you're not meant to take it literally, you're meant to take it seriously and understand the idea it presents. So picture a man's sex life, his relationships, basically anything that has to do with women, fucking, and the human condition. It plots like any human quality on a bell curve. Most people are at no more than one standard deviation and form a big bell in the middle. On either side are the second and third standard deviations, which are smaller percentages, outliers. This graph represents a great sex life, a happy marriage, a good relationship, or whatever intersexual outcome you were aiming for. At the extreme end of one side are the people who would do well no matter where you put them. If they were in Stalinist Russia, they'd be slaying it in Stalinist Russia. If they were in the Amazon, they would be crushing Wonder Woman ass and having Amazonian babies. The new environment of technological automation and food abundance doesn't faze you. If that's you, you don't need this praxeology. If that's you, you probably see it as silly. You don't know this stuff works intuitively, almost to the point that you don't even think it exists. I'm happy for you. Problem is, you don't really understand the system you are thriving in the same way that fish cannot describe water. That sucks because anything you want to say to illuminate men on the human condition is coincidentally associated with your skills, not the core fundamentals. It's like a woman who thinks she likes nerdy guys when she actually likes hot guys with glasses and doesn't actually know nerdy guys. All right, finishing it up here. On the other side are the losers. They'll never amount to anything, and their only purpose is to enter the meat grinder in some war, or shoot up a school, or complain until they die of diabetes or something. The problem is these guys have a lot of time on their hands, and they love to waste as much of it, and yours, as possible. The middle bell curve guys do okay. Not bad enough to want to help, but not good enough to not need it. Now our current environment has shifted the bell curve a bit. Guys who would have been part of the first group are now struggling like the average man. Guys who would have been the average man are now hopeless. Those two silent slivers are the men that this praxeology can help. It's a small niche. This is why I laugh when brand influencers think this is the path to their wealth and fame. You'd be better off selling tampons to fat lesbians. So yeah, it lets you know what you're in for right away. I actually really enjoy that part of it. That's my theory craft on this. Everybody, and the way it works is there'll be two types of stories in there. The first one are case studies, which is a field report. Well, as a guy describing, this is what I wanted, this is what I did, this is how I got there. A case study is a collection of them over a length of time, because it's very easy to take an isolated field report out of context and you just provide it. Okay, you want to learn about hypergamy? Here's the story about Danny and his hypergamous wife. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. But I find there's more value now in we're going to talk about something with dread, the scoreboard, or whatever concept in frame, the emotional pillar, whatever. Here's a guy's first field report, then his second, then his third. Here's him 6 months from now. Here's him a year from now. And you'll start to notice that it's not like a story, which that's one of the problems with writing these things as narrative structures, is that it has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they have to have a pacing, and they have to have a structure to it. But in real life, that's not what happens. And you guys, some of you guys are in the Patreon, so you know how this works. There'll be a guy who says one thing and then does another. So it's not even part of the story. I said I wanted to do this. I said I wanted to be better with money. It's well, I'm not seeing you make any effort towards your money. You just say this every week like a mantra to make you feel better about yourself. Yeah, but it's the wife's fault. It's is it though? Or they'll be really stuck on what you would think of as a simple concept, but for them it's just not clicking. And so they'll constantly be making mistakes. And there's I always call it the 6-phase process on this. I don't have a catchy marketing term for it. It's just how it is. And the first one is a guy will screw up and then he doesn't know why he screwed up. Things just go bad. It's I don't know why everything went bad. And then after that, he gets to the point where he screws up, but then afterwards he reflects on it. He's yeah, I know I screwed up. I know where I screwed up. I just didn't know how not to screw up. And then the next phase is a guy is doing the same process, he's screwing up, but then somewhere in the middle, he's like, what the fuck am I doing? And he realizes, like, I'm screwing up here. And so he just stops. He's like, whatever. Take the L, take the knee. I'm going to stop digging myself deeper. That's a good phase. That's where things are starting to start. That's where his Rolodex is spinning. And then the next phase after that is a guy is about to open his mouth and do something stupid or act stupid. And he's like, wait a minute. I know how this ends. And so he stops himself before he does it. And then finally he gets to the phase where he just doesn't screw up. And I think the benefit of Praxeology 3 and eventually Praxeology Volume 4 is that guys are going to start to see that process emerge. I don't want to make it explicit. I don't think it's good because you can't tell somebody how it works. I've tried. You can't tell them. It doesn't really do anything. You have to discover it for yourself. So at that point, I just kind of leave it as the subtext of the thing. You guys will figure it out on your own if you haven't already in your life. I see Bishop's thing here. Just give me 2 seconds. So I've said this before. One of my favorite parts of the whole process is where you'll have a guy. He's been like 3 months, 6 months, whatever. He's doing his field reports. He's plugging away. He's doing his thing. Reached a marginal level of success, and then all of a sudden he has some epiphany where he realizes, oh my God, and then he'll describe any of the concepts we talk about, ideas of boundary enforcement. The verbal intercourse is optional. That's a great one. I just realized, like, my wife's yapping at me, and it's like if I was chasing her around the house with an erection, asking her for sex, and she said no. It's like maybe I need to treat her trying to constantly get my attention in these shitty ways the same way. Then I'm like, oh, so verbal intercourse is optional. And it's like, oh. And then they realize, it's like, I get it now. It's like, it was easy to understand the pithy platitude that people are throwing out on Twitter. It's easy to understand it when you have like a meme where you're making fun of Sydney Sweeney, but to actually have the idea, the concept, and like my internal understanding of it, to click like that. It's a remarkable thing, but you can't teach it. The guy has to teach himself. You can only just let him know, and then hopefully he draws the connection on his own. Anyway, Silver Bishop, we got a $10 super chat. All right. It's 2 heartfelts for you, sir. 2 heartfelts. We're gonna do it. Let's do it right.
So the memes, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha
named Ryan Stone.
It says, ask Murphy about the article he wrote cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline,
I am now concerned for my career.
And I'm still recommending clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just...
That's great. That's you should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
I wonder if he's seen these ads. I know he's blocked me, but I was like, I wonder if that would be kind of funny if Jack's watching him. And I don't know what would be funnier. If he actually's like, dude, that's actually pretty funny, fair. Or if he's like extremely angry that they exist. And he's been trying to DMCA them this whole time. I don't know which is funnier. I think it's great. Anyways, Bish, I normally would give you a heartfelt. Well, technically you gave me 2, but Merry Christmas to you, sir. He's like, but hey, it's Christmas, so Merry Christmas. Frohe Weihnachten. I think that's how it says. I think the CH is like Eich, like Hugh, that kind of thing. So how do I say this? Frohe Weihnachten? Did I say it right? Somebody give me a best one here. Watch, I just said some like amazingly like racial slur, and he's like, I got him. $10 and I ruined his channel. So Merry Christmas. Also, chick where I DJ'd called me nice looking, and made her girlfriend pay for my drink. So cheers. Look at that. Getting chicks to buy you a drink because they're cheap as fuck at the bar, man. That's alpha. That's an alpha move. That's right up there with like owning a Bucati, 1,300 lay count, and going to jail for Trump. Now, I'm thinking Jack Murphy would give you a lot of heartfelts. I think Jack Murphy's trying to pretend like I don't exist. And I get it, because like his whole manosphere pivot just got tanked. And it's nobody's fault but his own, but it's tanked. So now he's trying to do some like health thing. And he's like, as long as I never have that, it's like a girl who left her town when she was too much of a slut and joined the big city, and now she's like brand new virgin. She's like, anybody from my hometown, I want them nowhere near me. I want to sanitize all this. So I would expect that. Oh, insurance. Okay, same thing, whatever. I mean, I don't want the guy not to be able to earn a living, but at the same time, I don't want to not have fun with it. He's not even a dick. He's not even a jerk. I find it funny. You know? All right. I have to do one more ad.
Not Ryan Stone. I think he's the most important guy in the world. Ryan Stone. Give a fuck about Ryan Stone. Me and him have gone back and forth. Blah, blah, blah. Ryan Stone does not pass the 6-foot test. He's not even a man. So I don't give a fuck with Ryan Stone.
I like this. So I've done some updates to the graphic design part of it too. The one thing I definitely do want to change is I don't want it to be 6x9. I think it's going to be better as a 5x8. It just fits better in your hand unless you got monstrous hands, and it's meant to be one of those kind of books too. So anyways, where's chapter 13? The infamous chapter 13. There's 12, 13. No, 12. I forgot my Roman numerals. The redacted stories, yeah. So like one of the ones in here that you guys are going to love is my visit to T-Town. Second one is about Utopia, which was, what's that one? Oh yeah, and why being on the shittier ship made for a better crew and make the happier ship made a shittier crew. And it's kind of a lead into one of the because there's always like lessons right after. It's like if she's into it, doesn't matter. The idea there is, oh okay, I get it. So like it didn't matter. The ship had asbestos on it. It creaked in the waves. There was no hot water ever. The messes were 50 a person. So like if you didn't lock it down, somebody was stealing it and all this shit. But the crew loved each other. So if she's into you, it doesn't really matter. Just like that bitch of a ship, you know? That wasn't that bad of a pronunciation. Keep the R out of the CH. Otherwise people will think you're Dutch. Oh dear God. I would hate to be Dutch. Think about that. You just come in here and everybody just starts calling you a stroopwafel and you're like, damn it. Although I guess I shouldn't make fun of the Dutch because you guys don't know this, but the Dutch are actually, like the Dutch East India Trading Company is still going strong. You wouldn't think that they're vital, but if the Dutch decided to, they could cripple the world tomorrow because what they have is they don't have oil. They have oil, but they don't have oil. They don't have military might. What they do have is the machine that makes the best microchips in the world. It turns out there's like cheap microchips and China can build those. That's fine. And then there's like modern day PC microchips and like America's got some capabilities. China, Taiwan mostly though. But it turns out the chips that are like top of the line, the best for AI, the best for this, the things that required for like nuclear, like that's it. The best of the best. There is a machine that can make them. That's a Dutch company that makes it. They spend like $100 million a year just on protecting their IP. Like that's how big a deal it is. So if you want top end, you have to go through the Dutch. You just can't make it. The machines that make the chips, they make the machines that make the chips. So you can't make a chip without the Dutch. It's crazy, isn't it? You say that tech is fungible, but it's not so much that it's like it's hobbyable. It's just that it's so goddamn hard. The Dutch are the ones that have the working version of it, and they've created an IP moat around it. It's just crazy. So when I make fun of the Dutch, just realize like, hey, bro, don't take away my AI. Isn't that thought superior in leftist justice system circles? Jesus Christ. The new Fuck Files will be out, Jack, in 30 days. 30th of January for the hardcover and 6th of February in paperback. The Kindle, I think I'll probably just do that like at the 30th, same as. I haven't done it yet, but yeah. So these ones, I'm definitely going to take it off of the make it a little bit smaller, just so it fits in the hand. And then it's going to be a prelude to Dog Walker that comes out on Valentine's. I've talked about it a bunch. I keep saying it's really good. Just get on the Substack, man. Like, you don't have to take my word for it. Oh, he's just bragging. Of course he's going to tell you it's good. It is good, according to him, because he needs it to be good. I'm like, that's true. Go read the excerpts yourself. I put some excerpts out there. And the best part is, they're not even the best. So if you, like, this is pretty good. I can see enjoying this. Realize that, like, Nick and I have had 3 rounds of rewrites in between then and now. So like I got the initial story down. You guys are seeing first draft stuff. Nick pops back. It's like, hey, this character's not well defined. Pacing here could use some work. Little structural things, right? Just because the goal was, and he likes that a former graphic designer, because it's like I look at this from a user experience like Apple did back in the 2007. But it's, how can I make you have the most seamless reading experience? Like I don't just want you to read a book and enjoy it. I want you to be like, not want to put it down. I want you to like, oh, I have to go to sleep, but I'd rather read this chapter. Like I want those kind of decisions. I want that kind of level of interest. And so I've ranted a bunch on Substack about this, about what I'm realizing now. Like I'm not the most prolific reader. I have not read a lot of fiction books, but the ones that I have read, I'm very quickly discovering what it is I don't like about books. And I'm like, I never want to expose anybody to that. You guys might know this too, because God knows there's been a lot of bleeding about, oh, books aren't made for men anymore. Men don't read. Well, men don't read because books are for women. And it's like, okay, yeah, let's go with that. What is it about books that I don't like? And I'm talking about, you guys made some references to like Neuromancer, Hyperion, Wheel of Time, whole bunch of books, right? And most of the time I was just like, I can't get past the first chapter. And I realized what it is. There's a couple things. The big one, the most obvious one to me, is skimming. If I can just skim paragraphs and not get lost in the story, then there's shit that I just don't need in there. Like, I don't need to read this to understand what's going on. So why is it even in here? Other than to fill pages, it's probably it, right? Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, Donald J. DeMarco. I'm not big on fiction either, and that's why this is the book written for people that don't like to read. I read it. I've read it 3 times and I still like reading it. And like, that's rare. You know me, I hate my books. When I'm done, I'm like, I don't want to fucking look at this thing anymore. I'm done with it. And like me, I'm like, I tried it. I couldn't sleep one night and I was like reading books, all the books you guys recommended. I didn't like any of them. So I started reading mine again. I'm like, fuck, it's actually an easy read. Nice. But yeah, that's the first thing. Like, I don't want anybody to have to be able to skim. If you skim, you're going to miss something. So I do word for that. That was the first thing. Second thing, overly descriptive. People describe things in books like that you're watching a movie, like they're watching a movie and they're describing it to you. And I don't like that either. Because it's like, if I just wanted to watch a movie, I'd watch a movie. I don't care what color. I know what a sunset looks like. I don't need you to describe the sunset. Oh, it's a great sunset. I'm sure it's a great sunset. Let's call it a great sunset. No, but you got to understand. Well, what's great about the sunset? It's blue. Oh, okay. No, it's blue. Like, really? Yeah, it's the bluest blue you've ever seen. Just like the Neanderthal. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. And then I realized it's been like 2 pages of blue. And I'm like, what happened? He's just drinking on the patio. You could have just saved me like all that time and I could have pictured. Just tell me it's the greatest sunset I've ever seen. Let me figure out what that means. What's the point of reading if I don't get a chance to fucking use my imagination? I might as well just be watching a shitty Netflix show. So I hate that shit. Nonstop Dre, $3.60, $2 super chat. Word is Ryan's lay count is over 9,000. How do you do it? I believe, sir, that the way I do that is with I got nothing clever. It's a Dragon Ball reference. I aged out before Dragon Ball Z, sir. Give me an Astro Boy reference and we'll talk. Yeah, Tolkien was like that. Described everything. Actually, and here's a great example, which is going to ruffle some feathers. I am not a fan of the birthday party. The 50 pages of a birthday party at the beginning of Lord of the Rings, I did not like that. I was not a fan of that. And don't get me wrong, some books can pull it off. Like Dune, arguably a lot of descriptive exposition, but they kind of required it because otherwise you would have no idea what's going on. But that's the point. You can't skim. If somebody's giving me a huge description of something and I can just skim. And then the third thing was, it's not even about giving me too many details. A lot of it is timing too, right? So for example, one of the themes in Dogwalker is time. And so the character Rex has an Omega Seamaster. It's his Navy watch. He loves that thing. He always checks it. And usually if I want to ramp up tension, or if there's a situation where his work hard and his play hard are crossing over, like, oh my God, I got to choose here between, chicks and duty. He'll check his watch and then the pacing gets faster. The sentences get shorter. Starts like, all right, I need 5 minutes to shave, 7 minutes to this, like to break down stuff like this. Meanwhile, he's got a naked girl in front of him, something like that. It's meant to be as a humorous thing, but But I don't need to tell you every detail about the Omega Seamaster. I don't have to tell you, oh, it's steel blue and this. It doesn't matter. For the plot, it could be green. It could be shit red. And it'll still serve its function. So I'm like, well, then just don't describe the parts that aren't needed. If it needs to be a certain color, I'll describe it as a certain color. If not, then whatever. It can be any color it wants to. That's the beauty of it. It's like if you're reading the book, who am I to tell you what the fuck you want to see in there? That's your job. I think this is why a lot of guys don't like writing books. It's because it's the same reason that we don't do as well in school anymore. It's the same reason we don't like Karens. It's all that shit. It's like we hate that somebody is micromanaging everything about us. And I could see that. Dude, your boss is micromanaging your work. You fucking hate it. Your kid, your mom is micromanaging you. You fucking hate that too. Your teachers are micromanaging you. Your boss micromanaging you. Your wife is micromanaging you. Everybody's telling you what to do, how to do it, and it drives you nuts. And then the one thing you want to do, like, get all that shit away from you. Let me just do my thing. And then what happens when you read a book? The author's micromanaging you. It's like, fuck you. No wonder why guys aren't reading books. Like, no, let you do it. Derek, €5 super chat. Do you think there's a way to climb inter-male hierarchies? Are some guys doomed to stay the same? Well, that's a very expansive question, so I'll give you a very generalized answer. It's the red oceans and blue oceans thing. Same as always. Red oceans, just think of it this way. If you're getting a job at a Fortune 500 company, there is a red ocean. There is a consistent, systematic way to climb the hierarchy, which, in fairness, you don't climb hierarchies anymore like those type of ones. If you get a job at a company, you will get a job as a director. You don't build yourself up from the mailroom to become a director. Internal hires are actually more expensive than just hiring somebody from elsewhere. So you got to move out to move up. So modern hierarchies are almost kind of like you have to quit and then go start somewhere else. I'll be a business analyst here, so I could be a manager over here. So I can be a director over here. So I could be a VP over here. So I can be C-suite over here. But even then, C-suite is mostly a certain demographic of people that they all pick amongst them. So if you want to get that route, you have to build your own company. So yeah, there's a way to climb inter-male hierarchies. It's just a lot of the times, is it really even worth it? God, I don't want to be Clary here, but like, is it worth it? Do you really want me to go 200,000 in debt, Ivy League college, the right colleges that have the same people? Like, do I want to go to Princeton because everybody that works at these companies works at Princeton, some nepotism at work? Maybe. Is there no guarantees? But at that same time, you've spent like $500,000, kissed the right ass. Like there was this great article. It was a military article. I can't remember if it was Canadian or American, but it was being a general, 30 years of ass kissing. And it was describing that. It was like the weirdest thing to be the top echelon of the military. And the one thing you're not being graded on is martial ability at all. It doesn't matter how good you are in the military. No, you have to kiss your captain's ass. You have to kiss his ass. You have to never say the wrong thing. You have to be attached to the right political guys. And then after 30 years, you might get there, which made me laugh too, because I read it. It came out like during the War on Terror. And then recently, like about 2014, 2015, 2016, the early Trudeau years, we had a wiping out of the top echelon of Canadian military. A lot of Me Too accusations for dumb shit. The one example I put is a guy in ROTC back in like 96 got drunk and mooned a bunch of classmates. And they brought that up as a way of firing him. 30 years into his career, he was like a vice admiral. They're like, no, you got to go, man. We don't put up with this shit anymore. How dare college students get drunk and moon each other? What is this, Zambia? Like, dude, that's racist. Why would you say that? So yeah, is it worth it? I don't think it is. Well, it's not that there is, but there kind of has to be a shift. I decided that. And like, yeah, I got my first setback and I'm like, all right, fuck that. It's done. I'm not going to sit here and fight against the current. Now, don't get me wrong. A buddy of mine actually did really well, but even then he kind of fought against the current. So he was like enlisted. He made a lot of friends in the higher ranks, and he switched over to officer, and he was doing really well there. To be fair, we were losing so much of our talent, just the fact that he was still there. Like attrition was like climbing him to the top. And then he eventually quit that and then joined as a contractor. And it's like funny. He kept quitting into promotions. Now he's like the equivalent of like a 4-ringer. And I was like, how in the hell did you do this? You're the guy that I remember got drunk and ran the gate. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Nobody seems to care. I don't know what to say. He's like so well off now, he's assuming he's going to get cancer. It's just pretty funny. So yeah, there is. The problem is there's no roadmap anymore. There's no shake his hand, do this, do that. It's every path is unique, and every path you have to think through yourself. So ultimately, the ability for you to have versatility, to think on your feet, to plan, to pivot, all this stuff, like your ability to make moves is ultimately going to be what allows you to succeed or not succeed in whatever hierarchy you either pick to join and compete in, or that you create of your own. Because I'm largely creating my own at this point. That's my route I chose. Is it a better route or is it a worse route? I don't know. You guys are the audience. You fucking tell me. I'm happy with it. But then again, if I wasn't happy with it, I'd say I'm happy with it anyway. So it's up to you. You figure it out. So hopefully that answers your question. People write like they learned from reading. If everybody else is being verbose like the authors in the 1800s and 1900s, paid by the word, that is how people write. Yeah. Nick's actually pretty good because he's like, he has read more books than probably anybody else I know, which, to be fair, he used to be a literary teacher, had a master's in English and all that stuff. So it's like, of course you have, and it's good. Because it's like, for me, I'm like, I don't know how to, like, for example, one of the problems I'm having right now is like, I don't know where to put this. Like, I don't have a genre that I can slide this into. It's like, oh, if you like this, you'll love this. Like, I don't have a this. And he's starting to describe things, and he goes, yeah, try this one. I'm like, oh, that's good. He's the one that coined the term the Jane Austen for men. And I'm like, that's fucking funny. He goes, yeah, it's funny, but it's kind of true too, because Jane Austen she written like the Victorian areas, and it was about how a girl can survive and thrive within their little social strata there. And he goes, you're kind of like that, but it's modern and it's for guys. But it's the same concept. And I'm like, oh, that's great. But it's funny because like most people aren't going to know what the hell Jane Austen for men means. They're going to be like, oh, he's writing literary fiction or what. He's writing about fucking. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. But like for people who actually know what the heck that's about, they might get it. So there's like multiple levels of depth to like all of our little cheeky things. And I really appreciate Nick for teaching me this stuff. Like it's really good. It helps me become better at what I do. And that's really all I want. At this, every day, if I can become better at podcasting or writing or videos or whatever, and like, it doesn't do 10,000 views today. It's like, I'll live. As long as every day it gets better, because then it becomes relatively easy. If you want to pivot and say, I don't know, do a movie channel, it's easy. You can bring all of this talent over there. And does it really matter that Chick Talks only got 40,000 views? It's like, no, fuck, it doesn't matter. Andrew Tate's Romanian passport, $5, 1 cent super chat. Had a win and didn't let my old neurotic placating tendencies and instincts win when the old lady was mad. Turns out it was a female coworker, not me. Whammon. It's amazing how many fights you don't have just by not fighting. How often you find out it has nothing to do with you. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of fights that I don't have anymore that were because, like, she just needed a sandwich. Oh, it's great. Absolutely wonderful. And yeah, Covert, you've got it right. Compare The Hobbit to Lord of the Rings versus The Silmarillion. One is a fun read, one is a slog, one is in between. I agree. Hobbit, I loved as a kid. The Hobbit was a fun read. I loved it almost as much as, like, the Hardy Boys. I remember, like, I can't remember anything about them now, but I remember reading every Hardy Boys novel as a kid growing up. And I remember loving The Hobbit, and I remember reading Lord of the Rings because it was Lord of the Rings. But it was a slog. I read it a second time as an adult, and I'm like, oh, okay. It actually kind of helped that I watched the movie first and then read it again. Because then a lot of the times I was just getting so lost in descriptions and stuff, I just kind of skimmed, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm caught back up. So yeah. I think your way of running the personal brand is one of the better ones to replicate, not going to prison and such. I think so, but here's the thing. In a year, we'll know. So, Pat Stedman, who's my, like, self-imposed arch nemesis, not that I can't think of a better way to describe him. I just like having him there as a foil. So we'll call him my Ric Flair. His Ric Flair to his Hulk Hogan. His Sting to his Steiner. Yeah, well, it's not about the genre, Baron, because whether it's written for children or epic fantasy for adults, they can still be written well or not. It's like Fight Club. Fight Club is an adult series book, but it is an a good, easy read. I found it was perfect. He didn't add, like, Palinchuk didn't add fluff when it wasn't needed. I can't skim it, because if I skim it, I miss things. And so I really enjoyed Fight Club as a book. What I need to do is I didn't realize how many guys that, like, I know and follow actually have their own books. They don't talk about them nearly enough. Like, Vince has a bunch of, like, hard-boiled detective stuff. And I'm like, I gotta read that shit. The target audience matters for how you write. Yeah, well, I think that's part of the problem too, Baron. I think people are starting with the demographic and then doing the writing. And I don't agree with that. I don't, because it's never worked for me on like the Manosphere or any of this shit, right? He's Doink to your Bret Hart. Like Doink Doink, or the one when they used to have 20 doinks and the one midget doink, and they'd always run out from underneath the ring and hit a guy with a chair halfway through the match. Because, like, the Doink crew was pretty fucking funny. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people do that. They will start off with the demographic. There is actually a genre I have found out about in, like, my marketing research. It's RPG lit. You're like, what? RPG literature. Like, what is that? Well, if you've ever had a tabletop D&D session, picture that, but as a book. And that's RPG lit. I have a feeling, and there's like a shit ton of them, like hundreds of them. And I'm almost positive that it's AI assisted writing. Like, you just record your session and then you tell AI, hey, write a book based on what we did during this thing. And then they write the book. I read a sample of one. I'm like, holy shit. It's like literally talking about character stats and shit. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But they're selling like fucking hotcakes. I'm like, Jesus. Anyways, aside from the point. Free Gender, $5 super chat. 1905, you cannot travel faster than the speed of light. 1998, the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. It's got nothing to do with nothing, but I have my space times. Like, that's my go to sleep videos on YouTube, is the space stuff. Yeah. To be fair, though, that's not a proper statement. I can't believe we're talking about the fucking speed of light. Wait till we start talking about the 11th dimension while we're at it. You cannot travel faster than speed of light. Absolutely true. It's the same way that you think of, like, moving in 2 dimensions, right? Moving left to right and up and down. If there's a constant speed, you can either move, like, all the way, like, up at a constant speed, or forward at a constant speed, or diagonally at a constant speed, but you can never move faster than that curve, right? It's the same way with space and time. It's that you could go as fast as the speed of light. And the faster you go, the more time slows down, and the slower you go, the more time speeds up, right? So you can never quite get infinite speed without zero time, but you can't have zero time. Time has to move. Entropy has to happen. But the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light is not true either. It's not that the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. It's that the concept of space is expanding, which gives us the impression that things are moving faster than the speed of light. They always use the balloon example, where if you'd have 2 dots in a balloon, you blow up the balloon, the space between the 2 dots expands, but the balloon is still the same size, right? Yeah, but it's not expanding faster than the speed of light. It's the concept of space is growing. So you still have to travel the speed of light, but space is just what space means. One unit of space is a bigger concept than it used to be. It's like inflation. Anyways, so my opinion is The Hobbit is child's play. Lord of the Rings is when the action starts to change pretty much. The Silmarillion was put together by Christopher Tolkien from what he found at his father's incomplete drafts. All true. A lot of it was like background stuff and the tree and the life and the elves and all that stuff. Yeah. Was the midget Dink? I thought it was Doink. Yeah, OG Dragonlance books were based on play sessions from what I remember. I don't remember Dragonlance. I don't remember Forgotten Realms, which is weird. You'd think, being the D&D kid in my early teens, that I would know this, but I just remember the books that I got into, which I don't know how, was Ravenloft. Like, wow, you like vampires? I'm like, I didn't really. Ravenloft and Arabian, not what do they call it? Not Arabian Nights, but the Arabian Night theme setting. Those are the 2. And then Dark Sun. I liked Dark Sun. I don't know why. I think I like the dystopia. Yeah, 3 Heartfelt's commercial will be put on. Oh yeah, let's get to the more commercials here. Let's Let's do a quick Rambo one.
There was a sculptor, and he found this stone, a special stone. And they said he had created a great statue. And the sculptor said he hadn't created anything. The statue was always there. We didn't make you this fighting machine. We just chipped away the rough edges.
I guess I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. So that was the other things I don't like about books. And then some books I can tell, and Nick kind of got me onto this whole thing, is where guys just want to be able to say I wrote a book. And so they go through the checklist, right? And then they write their checklist book. And I'm noticing those ones, they tend to be more about the author telling you how great he is, as opposed to, like, there was a couple I was trying to read. The one, The Expat, by this guy Hanshi. And you could tell it's auto-fiction too. It's like autobiographical fiction. He's obviously a software engineer, wrote a story about a software engineer who's also in his spare time the greatest hacker the earth has ever known. And I'm just like, are we really at the point where we're writing like male versions of Ray Skywalker? Like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't like that. I like the idea of somebody having some kind of flaw. Like, maybe he could be good at something, but he has to have a flaw. If he doesn't have at least one flaw or multiple flaws to overcome, and you're not writing a fall from grace tragedy, then it's like, what's the point? I like how when we've got a big argument over everybody's thoughts on the Lord of the Rings stuff. What's your thoughts on Tolkien? Oh, The Hobbit was great. The Hobbit's for kids, you fucking idiot. I liked it. The Silmarillion was just a collection of random stuff as a cash grab. Well, fuck you, Lord of the Rings. Just, the birthday party sucked. How long did it take you to edit the Orion screen? It took about a half a day to get that in there. Because first off, I actually had to do research, Marty, into what the Orion typeface was, and it turns out it exists. And so I had to look that up, and they're like, yeah, well, it's been a custom-made one. There's sort of equivalents to it. And so I had to grab open typefaces that existed that were equivalent to it, and then make my own manual alterations to the Illustrator, the vector files, and then create my own animation for it. So it is definitely a good thing. Yeah, write a Gary Stu. I don't know who Gary Stu is. Yeah, still lacking for my taste. Write a Gary Stu. Well, The Hobbit was for children, which is not the same as being childish. It's the best children's book ever. Is it the best? I don't know. I gotta lean on the Hardy Boys. I just loved the Hardy Boys. Yeah, Gary Stu is the Mary Sue for guys. I get it. Yeah, and then I realized, and then the only book that I enjoyed was Nick put me on. It's this one called Defiance. It's this guy, Oliver Lange. One sec. Dropping stuff here. Oh. Oliver Lange, and he wrote it in the early 80s. You guys remember Red Dawn? The movie where the Russians took over America? I guess they ran into some legal troubles because they took the story from this guy without giving him credit or whatever. Nonstop Dre $2, the greatest life coach to exist. Anyways, that book was great. It's a fun read. The ending pissed me off, but I mean, it's fine as long as I felt something about it. And I was like, maybe it's just the issue is that just new books do it. And I'm looking at a lot of new books, and I get why they're not as interesting. I like the Hardy Boys when they faced Edge and Christian. Sons of bitches. But I think the key part of it is, so Last Psychiatrist talks about this all the time. He talks about the narcissism epidemic we have right now, the me generation, and he uses a whole bunch of examples to kind of draw how it's coming at you from different angles. Like, one of my favorite ones was his talking about how Army recruitment ads, Army and Marines, it used to be like the 40s, it was all about serve your country, take it to the Kaiser, stuff like that. And then it turned into like an army of one. It's like, yeah, it's funny how it went from like collective, goodwill to now it's like individual. And now it's almost like, what can the army do for you? And it just kind of draws that out. And I think a lot of what's out there now, and it drives me nuts, is because even Substack, dude, I go on Substack, I'm like, I'm trying. I'm following everybody who's writing anything that's even mildly like interesting. And I'm like, just try. And everything I read, the first 4 paragraphs are the guy apologizing for not writing more, explaining what was going on, what he had for breakfast before he writes it. I'm like 5 minutes and a half a page in before he even starts writing what the fuck the title told me he was supposed to read or write. And then it's like exposition for the next little bit. And I'm just like, this person, like, yeah, it's free. I get it. Or you can subscribe for $5, doesn't matter. But he took all this time, wasted my fucking time. And half of his workload wasted my time. So like, why would I want to do that to somebody? It gets me so angry that I'm like, this has to be like projection on my part. So I go and look through my old stuff. I'm like, am I doing this? There's no way I'd be this mad about it if I wasn't doing this and felt guilty. Now, I don't think I am, but we'll see. But it's kind of, and it isn't different than how I've done this channel for the last like 6 years with you guys, is it? I've been telling you guys since the start, the last thing I want to do is waste your fucking time. I want to make sure that for every like dollar I get, for every view I get, I provide, for every like 1 unit of value for me, I want 5 units of value for all of you. And then there's just, I'll make up the difference in scale. And I think that's perfectly a good way to do it. How can I be a servant leader to everybody else? That's a horrible way of putting it. That's not what servant leader means, by the way. Servant leader means just do whatever my wife wants and have her tell me I'm in charge. Yeah, I know, apologize first. And everybody does it. Girls, and it's like, you'd think, oh, it's just women. No, women do it too, but the guys are doing it now. Now it's kind of weirding me out. The girls, is there a genre of like amateur fiction out there for women that's not, I'm neurotic, I'm doing drugs, and I'm getting laid a lot? Because it's like, dude, that's why I'm kind of convinced that Dog Walker and Fuck Files will actually get a female audience. Because it's like, this is exactly what you guys write about all day, just better. Yeah, I can't believe writers forgot starting with the hook, the lead. Yeah. That's actually one of the greatest lessons I got. It's like, you have to be selling your book. And it's not selling like marketing, like, hey, this is the greatest thing ever, this is hype. No, it's that every step along the way, you have to convince somebody that you're going to enjoy this and that you're not wasting your fucking time. So like the cover, a lot of effort into it. It's got an aesthetic to it, so you know what you're in for. Okay, so it's not going to waste my time. The guy clearly cares. You open up the first page, read the first word, the first sentence. Okay, so this is actually interesting. I could see myself finishing it. You get through the first page, it's like, oh, I want to see what happens more. You get through the first chapter, you're like, oh, I would love to find out more about this. Like every step of the way. It's not until like the second chapter that you maybe buy a little bit of goodwill for you to kind of branch off and kind of build some world and have a setup that'll have a payoff later than that. And it's not attention spans are getting shorter. It's not any of that shit. It's just that everything is shit. Like you got to watch this movie. Like, no, I don't. No, I don't. What's the new one? There was some new one coming out and it's like, oh my God, this is going to be great. Oh, the new Superman. I guess there's a new Superman. I didn't even watch the trailer. I just saw a thing like without the sound that you're scrolling through. It had the Super Dog, and then it had Nathan Fallon as a Green Lantern with like a weird Amish haircut. And it's like, you guys, this is the greatest. It's like, no. I have been burned before many times. I will wait 6 months. And then I realized it's not just movies. It's not just books. It's not just YouTube videos. Dude, have you seen this? You go to watch a YouTube video now. Like, I don't know. Am I the only one that does this? Give me some indication in the chat if this is a common thing you do, where you put on a video from somebody you don't know on a subject you are kind of at least interested in. And the first thing you do is skip the first minute. And then you find you're about to start watching the part of the video you want to watch. Yeah, it's got to hit those 8 minutes. You got to hit your Raid Shadow Legends ad. It's stuff. Okay, so yeah, you do it too. And it's like, do I really need to waste somebody's time that much? It's actually, for the newsletter stuff, Goldman Unleashed gave me a great suggestion when he was doing his, because everybody was like, when you're doing your newsletter, where do you put the ads in it? And that was one of the questions like Rollo and I and all the other guys, like, where do you put it in? And we all had our ideas, like why we did it one way or another. Goldman's like, I like putting it right at the end, because if somebody's not going to buy like a book or whatever it is you're selling, your book, your course, whatever, they're probably not going to enjoy your thing anyway. But if somebody's actually enjoying your entire essay to the point that they'll read it to completion, they're the ones that are most likely to be like, all right, I'll take that step of the way. So why not just filter out everybody who doesn't care? So that way you don't have people that don't want to see it seeing it. I'm like, that's actually pretty clever. Like it's considerate. And I like that. I think my very first speech, you guys can go watch it now. It's on the 21 convention site, where it's, I think the first thing I do is acknowledge, like, there's some reverence. You guys are giving me an hour of your time. You spent $2,000 to be at this conference. to listen to me and nobody run my mouth. And so, yeah, I will do my best. Now, which is funny because I'm kind of wasting their time as I'm giving this thank you, but I don't think anybody considers being thanked and appreciated as a waste of time. But yeah, it's like, so I'm treating this with some reverence. Let's not waste your time. Let's get into it. A paralegal told me to watch Rings of Power. I threw her out of my office. I threw it on the ground. Yeah, I skip the intros unless I like the content creator intro. Yeah, that's everything. Like here, I got a good example. I got a great example. Did I put it on here or not? I think I did. You guys were asking about the old Sultan, and I actually do have the Sultan ad. I just can't remember where the hell I put it. Oh, there it is. I think it's this one. Yeah. Case in point. There she is.
Ryan Stone, another
It is just,
Oh my God.
If you're a young man, you need to figure out what you're trying to do with your life, you need to subscribe to this goddamn channel.
What the fuck?
Megan Fox with a dick, or Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
You see that Waffle House there? There's murderers in there.
You have to conclude that Trump betrayed us.
socially retarded fact.
Seething.
Don't work with retards.
He's a halfway decent looking guy, a nice smile, can be a gentleman, snarky as even in person, yet he blocks me and talks shit about. Somebody find out their fucking real names for me.
Dude, I was so happy with that one. I'm like, it's great. There's like inside humor. It's got a nice fast pace. It doesn't waste people's time. Nobody's watching it, but that's fine. It's just the intro thing, so it's like I can live with that. Nobody watches the promo stuff. They always watch the episodes. So I'm putting another Manosphere Morning out there. I kind of want to do more of those. I just realized there's so much goofy shit on Twitter. How can I not? Dark Knight Dev, $5 super chat. Every time I think of doing something stupid, I want Pierce Morgan rapping on me about the profanity-laced interview. Yeah. It's my version of the Jumbotron rule. If Pierce Morgan was interviewing me and he showed a clip of this, how would I answer? And if I don't have a good answer, I probably shouldn't be doing it. Dev, you make me laugh, man. Oh, enjoy your Christmas. Hey, I feel bad though. I'm not actually going to be doing a sweet potato pie this Christmas. I know that's been like my tradition for years now, a sweet potato pie, a ham, or a spatchcock turkey. This year we're going full like hipster. Remember National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the Louis Dreyfus character? We got like the silver Christmas tree. We don't have like the running suits that they had. And we're gonna do like a fondue and shit. But I'm gonna do two pies. I'm either thinking a pear pie and a lemon meringue. I have all the stuff ready for lemon meringue. And I was like, I haven't done one of those. I'm going to do one of those. I even bought the fancy fucking lemons. The expensive Costco lemons. Every time a Sydney Watson video is recommended, I think of Heartfelt. And dude, I don't know to what extent she has made Heartfelt part of like the internet lexicon. I know for a fact I've driven that thing into the ground. So I part of me would laugh if the whole reason the Heartfelt thing is still stuck around is not because of her or Jack at all. It's because of me constantly laughing at it. That would make me feel great. I love the Tekken for Pennies intro and outro. Oh, we got that too, sir. Where'd it go? Oh, that's like, I got it somewhere.
If you're sitting there going, oh, my wife's the 3, I play Tekken for pennies, my name's Ryan Stone, your life sucks. So he absolutely nailed it. Don't start something you won't be able to finish. Don't start something you won't be able to finish. Everyone's having a little bit of faith. My name's Ryan Stone, I play Tekken for pennies, chill a little bit, and just go, you know what, Tate's got it.
Yeah. Your intros are something else. Well, it's the thing is, like a lot of guys for the intros, they just want to show cool shit, but they don't want to tell a story. I think that's the difference. Like that right there, it's Tekken for pennies, but it's got a story to it. It's like, yeah, everybody knows who Andrew Tate is, obviously, because he's been the most Googled guy and he's been in a lot of shit. Apparently he's out of jail. I guess they confiscated $3 million of his empire and now he's like, the charges are being dropped. So I guess he bribed his way out. Good for him. Yeah, so it's like, oh man, he's so angry at this dude. Who's the one with the ugly wife and who's the one with this and who's this? It's Brian. And then it's just me. It's like, Tekken for pennies, eh? Not a bad idea. And then I start playing it. And then his video, like, don't start something you're not prepared to finish. And it's got the double play. I don't know. And then, yeah, don't worry, Tate's got it. And it's got the Hawaiian music at the end. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's got a whole little arc to it. That's why I like mine. They're so much better than the Rule Zero ones. Yeah, it's about Easter eggs, Mr. Oizo, Family Matters, piano, funny shit. There's that too. I always like that. I think it was Governor who put it, where he's like, I have to watch your stuff twice. I have to watch the ad and take it all in. And then I have to like freeze frame and like, what did you put there? Like the Jack Murphy one, at one point, there's the Navy SEAL copy pasta in there. It's like little shit like that. The Family Matters intro, exactly. And that's the problem too, because it's based on like the old MLG, Modern League Gaming videos. Remember the ones that are really fast-paced, artistic edits and that? You can't follow what's going on, but the whole like cacophony of sound and visuals kind of throws you off. I kind of took that, slowed it down 10%, but then made it information dense too. So it's kind of like, you better pay attention. You're going to miss the funniest shit ever. And you're like, what? I can't even follow what's going on. And then after, like, because I'm showing these every fucking week. If I showed the same boring ad every week, you guys would get tired of it. Yeah, his fitness course commercial was so awesome. Oh, yeah, the MLD one, yeah. Is pay stay is Canadian pasta. What? No, I've only got the one Canadian copy pasta. That's this one. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, that's right. Never mind. I took it down, the Indian pooping in the thing one there, because I'm like, it used to be cute. Oh, the migrants are pooping in the beach. And now it's like, hey, the migrants just took out King Street. Hey, the migrants just took out a family of 7. Hey, like, took out a Christmas market. Hey, they're stealing cars. Oops. Yeah, I grew up during the Halo 3 mag era. I love the Easter eggs. Yeah, I'm glad. And that's what I'm going to keep doing them. As long as you're watching them, I'm doing them. Anyways, we got to get back to it. Yeah, so Praxeology Volume 3. I didn't put the link in here yet, which I will right now. Field reports. There. Link is in the pinned comment in the live chat. And it's right there. I have my website, theryanstone.com, which is great. I just found it's so much easier instead of having to put the whole Amazon codes in there. Just put a redirect, a 301 redirect. And then it's just ryanstone.com/dread/fuckfiles/frame. It makes it so much easier to do link. Anywho, so I guess I'll back to this one here. Yeah, so it's like, if you look, there's not a short amount of stories. There's what, 3, 6, 9. It's like 20 stories in here. And it kind of ends, and it kind of has its own little narrative structure too, although it's like very subtle. You have to kind of catch on to it. So a dude on the margins, are you the person that this is for or not? What is it that you're like, you may not be able to articulate what it is about your life that like, everything's going great. Why am I so unhappy? And it's like, maybe you're just one of those guys on the margins. You're one of those guys that should have had a great life. And now it's a good life. And you're not sure why you're not feeling happy about that. Or maybe it's like you're failing, but it's so close and you can't figure out why. And you're like, oh, okay, that's on me. And then you show examples like afraid of his wife's emotions, a guy who learns about walking on eggshells, type 2 Cap'n accidentally learned how to cheat. You're like, oh, okay. So it's like, these are real fucking issues. Guy cheats on his wife and you're not writing about him like a monster. Well, that's something I've never seen. It's kind of a bit of a rubbernecky thing. It's a hook. You're like, oh, okay. And you get into it. And you're like, oh, I understand now what he's getting at here. Doesn't mean I'm telling you to cheat. It just means like, okay, so there's a dynamic underlying here that people never get past because they're too busy, morally fainting couch and all that shit. Challenge of being a stay-at-home dad. Maybe some of you guys are stay-at-home dads. God knows. 40% of households right now have the wives as the primary breadwinner. So that's going to be an increasingly bigger issue, right? And then, after you got a couple of the case studies of guys over their time, we'll have a theory, which is usually you take a series of case studies, and if they all kind of like dance around a certain point, somebody write a theory around it, like a rapper. It's about unlearning bad habits. And a lot of time, yeah, it's just stop making unforced errors, stop fucking up. Case study, indiscriminate responsibility. That one I like too, because that's the whole, oh, you got to be responsible for everything. And guys are just making it all about them in a negative way. It's that martyrdom narcissism complex. I love that shit too. Case study, I'm a shrink, a woman, and I've been cheating for a while now. And it's like, yeah, some women are just fucking bitches. And that's fine. You're like, oh, you can't say that about women. It's like, well, this one you can. That's always my thing. Like, why do you hate women? It's like, do I have to love all women? If you don't love women unconditionally, you're an idiot. It's like, what about Casey Anthony? Do I have to love her too? Which technically the answer is yes, because her second husband's like, I'm going to go back to my wife. This is bullshit. And then there's some like I hate people who talk about the red pill like it's the second coming of Christ. Like, it's a thing. It does what it does, but it's not the best thing since sliced bread. It's a specific tool. So red pill is loser talk. And that's letting you know, like, don't red pill your friends. Don't talk about this stuff publicly because you look like an idiot. It's like, yeah, but you wrote this book. Yeah, and I'm telling you, you will look like an idiot if you start talking in your social circles about this shit. Shut the fuck up. It's solipsism, stupid. And yeah, it's guys that are just not like, why are they like this? Well, it's because of this, you fucking idiot. Acting attractive when you aren't, which is funny because that actually carries through with like the cheating one. Guys who cheat in the beginning of their dread, especially the bad type of cheating. Like there's red pill and blue pill cheating, and I shouldn't say bad, I mean blue pilled, where they have an increase in anxiety and dread without the corresponding increase in sexual market value. And that discontinuity causes issues, right? So it kind of lets you know, oh, there's like a thing to this. Oh yeah, definitely. You don't get to do what successful people do. Again, that's another theory that gets wrapped up where you realize, like, I don't get it. How come he can do all this shit and I can't? It's because he's successful. He's bought himself the leeway to be able to do this without serious consequences. Elon Musk can get top 12 in Diablo 4 because he's also got $300 billion fucking dollars. You, on the other hand, cannot because you don't have a pot to piss in. So yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice more than he did, and you're probably going to achieve less than he has, but we all have to make those decisions, right? Case study, when is it time to check out of the marriage? And that's the other guy here. So like for a lot of it, it's treat your wife like a sparring partner, right? You know, okay, if I can game this girl, I can game anybody. Maybe she's a piece of shit. Maybe I'm a piece of shit, but until I fix my shit, I don't know what the answer is. And if it turns out she's the piece of shit, at least then when I finally decide that I'm done, I don't end up being a piece of shit to the next girl, because it's entirely possible that you're both pieces of shit. So yeah, fix your stuff, then worry about her shit. The memory of a goldfish, which again, that's like a solid strategy. It's paid so many dividends to guys. Like just to, it's not even letting go of resentment and all that fucking bullshit. It's more just like, let go of resentment verbally. Just shut the fuck up about your resentment. It's only going to cause problems. It doesn't solve anything by, like, internalize that shit. Bottle it up. Push it down. The 1,000-foot tow rope, sex and violence. Sex and violence, that's technically my case study about my disillusionment with the military. So I threw that one in there. The internet as a buffer against progress, which I guarantee you there's at least one of you that this applies to here, where the idea of intaking all of this information and taking everything in on the internet is actually your way of avoiding any of the work you have to do. Which is, it's kind of funny that you're just so busy reading the instruction manual that you're not actually doing anything. I'm reading Jane's manuals. I don't need to work on my car. It's like, well, you do. Yeah, making a believer out of them, the path men take, and then it ends off with like, go away and live life. And I like that as the one. It's like, dude, you got it. Fuck off. Really? I need more. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you know enough to learn from your mistakes, I think you know enough to sort some shit out. You don't need hand holding. You don't need training wheels. You don't need all this shit. Praxeology Volume 3. More smile, less snark. No fucking faggot. There, the next cover. Praxeology Volume 4. It's going to be a picture of Bruno pointing at the thing, mouthing the F. Well, I'm not as fat as Elon Musk. There's that. I think that's old Elon Musk. New Elon Musk looks pretty lean. I think people have been using those 6-year-old photos of him a little too much, and people forget that in the meantime, he's managed to lose and drop a bunch of weight. Free Gender's back, $5 super chat. My dad is in his late 50s. Went through a terrible divorce. I tried explaining Red Pill to him, and he asked me, why do you hate women so much, son? Are you fucking serious? Like, that's funny. Fucking hilarious. Why do you hate women so much? I don't know. Are you angry? No, I still love her. It's like, all right, well, again, remember, it's not so much that this stuff is unattractive to talk about. It's that you're dealing with people's identities, their worldviews, right? And you can't talk somebody out of their worldview. You can't talk somebody out of their identity any more than you can just tell a lesbian, oh, get some dick, you'll be fine. And she's like, fuck you. That's exactly what it's like here, telling a lesbian to get some dick. And when it comes to identity and that, people will fight the same way as if you were coming at them with a knife trying to attack them physically. So that's why you can't really do it. You kind of have to, like, you can, like, here, check out this article. It's kind of referencing your stuff, and then just leave it be. He has to make that journey on his own. Because if it's not his idea, then it's you trying to manipulate him. And there's nothing people hate more than being manipulated. They don't like it at all. You're also probably not as depressed as Elon Musk. I don't know if he's depressed at all. That's the thing. Elon Musk is not even Elon Musk. He's the brand. He's like, who's the Virgin Airlines guy again? Hold on a sec. Russell Brand? Virgin CEO. Oh, that's probably not going to come up with it. Richard Branson. He's the Richard Branson for millennials. That's Elon Musk. Because most billionaires, they hide that they're billions. They try to hide their money. They don't do that. But Elon has decided to make that part of his brand, to be a public celebrity, which probably helps him in his business thing, or he just wouldn't do it. Tate ruined Hulk Hogan for me, Sam Whiskey 199. That son of a bitch. Actually, know who ruined Hulk Hogan for me? Bret fucking Hart. Bret Hart ruined Hulk Hogan. Bret Hart ruined everybody for me. Just to hear him talk about the other wrestlers, to shoot on. Like, now I'm like, I like The Undertaker more. I like Steve Austin more than I used to. And I love Bret Hart. I've always loved Bret Hart. Roddy Piper, I love him more than I used to. Ric Flair, I love him more than I used to. But yeah, he said, Shawn Michaels, fuck that guy. Goldberg, fuck that guy. He's the one that killed Bret Hart. Just finished off Praxeology Volume 3, and it was difficult to read. Absolutely nothing to do with you. Written very well. It's only because I've been so deep into all this that I recall too much. Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, it's not meant to be like read the whole thing and enjoy the whole thing. It's really meant to be just like, a piece here, a piece there. Kind of similar to like somebody who comes up with a blog post every week. Like, yeah, I just read one piece a week, you know? But he's not wrong. Yeah, Stripper's not wrong. Just finished off Praxeology Volume 3, and it was a difficult read. Written very well. I have deep into all of this that I recall too much. And that's the thing too, for a lot of you guys, you might recognize these stories that have been part of like the lexicon for the last couple of years. So you kind of know where the story's going before it gets there too, which if anything, that kind of, I don't know if it makes it better or worse for you to like, oh, I kind of know where the story's going, but Goldberg from Mighty Ducks though, or Chris Benoit. Hulk Hogan ruined himself for everybody. That's fair. Actually, the one Hulk Hogan story I did like, it came from, what's his face? Who was the alcoholic one again? The Razor Ramon guy, Scott Hall. Scott Hall. It was a Scott Hall story about how Hogan had to be Hollywood Hogan and he turned heel. And the guys were kind of like, yeah, you're heel now. It's great. You're going to do this. And like, you got to get this guy over. To get a guy over means to like make them look good and help them in the audience's eyes, which, you know, prefer-wise helps them. Hogan never got anybody over, ever, in his career. And he did it once. And I remember afterwards they were going out for drinks because it's Scott Hall. Of course you're going out for drinks. And Hulk's like, dude, I feel great. That was fun. I loved that. And he goes, yeah. And it was kind of one of those weird things that like the Hollywood Hogan arc was my least favorite Hulk Hogan arc. I loved the Americana Eat Your Wheaties Hulk Hogan, but apparently that was the biggest piece of shit Hulk Hogan. And then once he turned heel, apparently he like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna be a better person now. And it was almost like a redeeming thing when he turned heel. Oh, dude, Stampede Wrestling, the old regional ones. Yeah, I was just too young to like, I could see some of those on TV when I was a kid, but I was just young enough where I could catch the tail end of it. It was pretty awesome. I only do electric LO joke. I don't know what the... Yeah, when I started Red Pill ages ago, I got the, when did you get so cynical about women? And his thing is, too, it's not even that people disagree with you. It's just being outspoken about it. Whisper actually had a great thing on this where he talks about the why Red Pill will never be attractive. And he talks about, like, everybody knows the stuff, but it's in poor taste to speak openly about subtext. The whole point of subtext is it's supposed to be subtext. It's supposed to be behind the scenes. You're supposed to be, if you know, you know. And the idea of talking about subtext using direct language is seen as autistic. And that's why the Red Pill stuff will never be attractive. It just won't. And there's an understanding you have to have. It's like, well, what if it goes mainstream? What if this? It's like, the only way it works is if you get rid of the core of what makes it what it is. talking bluntly about things you're not supposed to talk about. And it doesn't matter if there's hate in your heart or not. It's going to come across that way. So just accept it. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing, though, Blue. Like, you seem to be very knowledgeable about Elon Musk stuff. I don't know about any about this shit. I just know. I know he's a brand. And once you know somebody's a brand, you kind of know. Like, I know Hulk Hogan's real name is Terry. But, like, when he's on screen, it's Hulk. It's the same as that chick did the 100 Dicks. Remember that one? Did the 100 Dicks. He's crying on camera. All the Christians are like, oh, it's great. I love watching a girl get her comeuppance. You're going to hell, bitch. And they watched her crying about the porn more than they watched the porn, to the point that I'm thinking the crying is the porn, and the porn was just like the behind the scenes of the crying. Yeah, of course it rubs things the wrong way, because it shows like a lack of like social acumen. People, and you tell people like, oh, that means I can't save face. Well, you're not going to help me save face because you're going to speak bluntly about this stuff. And so people kind of look at it as like a self-preservation thing too, right? Like if you're willing to be open and blunt about this, you're going to be open and blunt about anything stupid, aren't you? You're like, no, not necessarily. I mean, maybe. We'll see. I'm pretty sure I'm like, I'll never be on Fresh and Fit now, which I can live with that. Which, the irony of that, by the way, where it's like, oh, you're never going to allow us to save face on our stuff. You're just going to be open and blunt about it. It's like, yeah, funny how that works, isn't it? It's not so fun when it's on you, is it? Yeah, whatever. What's your opinion on most degenerate women taking a religion as a grifter after being promiscuous from 15 to 30 when they were born again, want to settle? I wish them luck, Shanta. I wish them luck. Good luck to you, man. There's going to be some sap who will buy that you're changed and you're different, and maybe you feel like you're different at the time. Maybe 5 years from now, once you have your kid, you're like, nah, I want to go back to that. And it's like, maybe. Good luck. I guess the big thing is it's like, it's the same as my chapter in Fuck Files. One of them about the single moms. A horrible, tragic problem that's not my responsibility. And that's kind of how I take it. It's like, I wish you luck, madam. Good luck. You got it. You can do this. Oh my God, but they're so hypocritical. Like everybody's a hypocrite. Who cares anymore? Like, really? Is that the yardstick now? Hypocritical? Oh, dude, we have very many moral Christian people here that we can point that stick to. We have many progressives we can point that stick to. We have many racists. How many racists have like Asian girlfriends? Like, come on, man. You gotta be talking about that stuff. Everybody's a hypocrite, so you just gotta let it go. Just focus on what's in it for me. Now, if the girl with 100 dicks wants me to be her husband, I mean, we're gonna talk to my girl about that, but it's like, I don't know. I would basically judge it over an extended period of time. And that's the thing too, of people who are disingenuous about their pivots, I guess, lack of a better word. They aren't patient. And that's one of the few like hard rules I give out to people. It's like, you got to wait 12 to 18 months with somebody before you even learn who the real them are, because they have those narcissistic masks and they don't drop them in that length of time because they want something from you. So they act the way they think you want them to act. The thing is, though, you just focus on your boundaries. What is it you will put up with it? What was it you won't put up with? Well, yeah, but if you tell her everything, then she just knows how to act exactly how you want. Yeah, for a time she will, but nobody can do it forever. So you have to wait. You wait a year. You wait a year and a half. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the 18 months to 2 years. That's where the singing and dancing monkey improvement program, like guys will find out they're wasting their time after 2 years. It's where a girl's borderline, narcissistic masks, whatever, that come down around the same time. Apparently, we have a time limit on how much we can lie to people. Even with the branding thing. Like, Pat Stedman was doing great for about 2 years, and then he came out as being fucking nuts. Jack Murphy was doing great as the Tim Pool TradCon conservative until 2 years later, he's like, oh, what about the cuck article? Like, oh, fuck you. Yeah. Free gender $5. When I saw her crying, I realized it was just an advertisement because now she's going to do 1,000 guys in a day. Yeah. Well, here's the thing I would like you guys to take from it. Not, oh my God, dicks. She didn't start crying until the camera gave her a close-up. Just let her know. She's not crying because she feels bad. She's crying so you get the impression that she feels bad. But the people that are the best at this are the ones that convince themselves of it being true. So if you put that camera in her face and then telling her about she feels bad, she has to convince herself she feels bad. And in that way, she's more convincing to you that she feels bad. It's that plausible deniability. It's that, it's hypergamy. I think Rollo has it in his first or second year articles where he talks about medium is the message. Is that if there's ambiguity, that's on purpose. It's just instinct. She might like dicks more than I like dick jokes. You never even know. She didn't even do the 100. It's all bullshit. I mean, like, that's like the least important part of this. She did like 97. This is fucking bullshit. Oh, never mind then. I'll take your word for it. Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't know a single. Well, Lufty. If you guys don't know, he's the dude who's everybody kind of in the red pill like sphere. Everybody knows who he is. He loves hookers, and he's always got some of the. He's like Bull Rush in that. What's the most hilariously inappropriate thing to say? And he'll say it. So like all these chicks were like going to bat for her. She's like, if she feels bad, just don't be mad to woman. And then he'd like look at the regret in her eyes, and then he would just post underneath it the fucking video. And I was like, holy shit. She was sitting there with like 8 dicks. It's like that old Anthony Johnson, like, woe is me martyrdom branding where they take the John Wick photo of all the guns pointing at him, but it's just all dicks. Yeah. To be honest, who cares? Ask Riley Reid's husband if he's happy. If the answer is yes, then maybe it doesn't matter so much. Well, I mean, it matters. It does and it doesn't. It matters, but I think everybody gets what matters wrong. They treat the symptom as the cause. A promiscuous girl doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to cheat on you and abandon you. But there are qualities that promiscuous women have that non-promiscuous women don't have. And you got to pay attention to those qualities. Don't focus on the cold, or don't focus on the cough, focus on the cold. And that's why boundaries are better. Yeah, her mom's her manager. There's that stuff too. But it's really just about like focus on what matters. I think that's the issue, is that people have the wrong details. Boundaries. Focus on how does she treat you? Does she treat you great? Does she give you everything you want? Do you never have to worry about, yeah, she loved this and now she doesn't love it anymore, but you loved it, so like all of a sudden now it's not important? Now that it's your turn? It's like, yeah, there's little things like that. And it's not even arbitrarily like this is objectively right, this is objectively good, this is objectively wrong. It's more so, is it wrong? Is it good for you? Or is it bad for you? You can answer that question. That's all that matters. I can see a little fucking dog ear. Fucking guy. Yeah, her mom is her manager. That's the other thing too. So it's like, and that's kind of one of the themes of Dog Walker came out too, where everybody's doing something, everybody's enjoying themselves, everybody's fine with it, but the character Rex has like a moral squeamishness about it, while at the same time he engages with it. It's like this weird thing where, why are you having guilt about things that you enjoy, that other people enjoy, that nobody else thinks is wrong, but you like the idea of being better than them, and so you make up these arbitrary rules that make you better, even though you're not. And it's that lying to yourself, and that's one of his character arcs. He has to get past that and understands like, and the reason is because he's a promise keeper. My mom went through that. I'll never put a woman through that. And then he's realizing like, oh, the women didn't mind it. They kind of liked it. They're fine with it. Everybody's fine with it. So maybe you need to stop trying to protect the world from yourself and just like let it go. And that's kind of like the moral message in there, which is probably one of the more red pill things. But it's funny because no red pill guy actually understands that. They all still, there's so many guys who say they're red pill still think it's about comeuppance, about yelling at that bitch. And like, yeah, that'll teach you. It's like, no, it's not. Leafy. Oh, I thought it was Luffy. It's some like One Punch Man or something like that character he names this guy after. It's weird because I know his profile picture better than I know his like how to pronounce his name. It's like everybody. You change your profile picture, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Anyway, so we're getting close to the end here. It's almost 11. I cannot praise this enough. Like I said, it's the best toilet reading book you're probably going to have. Enjoy it. A lot of effort went into it. A lot of work went into it. It didn't feel like it at the time, but then I realized like this book was put together before these books were. This was like the effort that got into there. It's the notes. It's the Silmarillion of the Praxeology series, if that helps you understand it. Ask Rollo about the essay he wrote about that. Oh, wait, yeah, there's always an essay on it too. And that's the thing. So episode 0 in this one, it's the last thing until I give the big announcement. It's not going to be what you think it is, even though it kind of is, but it also isn't. It's second year Rollo. It's the only thing I haven't done on the sidebar that I wanted to do was the first 2 years of Rolo stuff. I've already got the year 1. It's already in the sidebar playlist, and I'm going to have year 2 on here. Also, the long videos, I've now got When I Say No, I Feel Guilty, along with No More Mr. Nice Guy, a full video, like the 8-hour compilation of the entire book. I still have Married Man Sex Life Primer, Practical Female Psychology, and Manipulated Man to go in there too. So there's going to be like, it's a lot. So that'll be good. Thanks for what you do, Ryan. Just bought all 3 books just now on Kindle. Looking forward to reading the whole series. Oh my God, sir. You have taken on a monumental task. It is not a quick read. No, I mean, but like the 3rd one will be. Definitely. So here's the thing. You can enjoy them in the order, like Frame, then Dread, then Praxeology Volume 3, like that. Technically, you could get away with reading Dread up until the point of the 2nd scoreboard, and then reading Frame, because the Frame is essentially the 2nd scoreboard dragged out for an entire book length. Because that's just how the information went. That was a big part of it, and you would still get the same reading experience. It's up to you if you want to watch it as like the series or read it as the Star Wars edit. You know what I mean? It's a Gundam, essentially is his modern replacement. I will admit, Gundam, I remember like old videos he had of his, but now he's really added production value, which is pretty good. He's like probably the most popular of the anime MGTOW guys. You know, the ones like the Ribby the Frog or the whatever, the vampire or whatever. It's a Gundam is kind of like, he's the top tier of that stuff. He's the critical drinker of angry MGTOWs, which good for him. It works. Yeah, big announcement. He's training to be a pro wrestler. Woo. Well, maybe. I mean, Paul did his pro wrestling thing with Glenn, which I still haven't had a chance to watch that yet. I don't know what they did with it. I'm still waiting on my signed boxlet with the Blue Yeti. To be fair, Marty, I'm doing one for Mish, so I'll talk to you in the Discord. I'll see about getting those together as well. But let me finish the hardcovers proper first. Oh yeah, his Staten Island accent, it's pretty good. Ryan Stone's finishing move would be red morning, a suplex with a straight drop to the head. To be fair, I would probably be old school. If I had to do a finishing move, I would probably... You know, this is so stupid. You know one of my favorite moves? It was Roddy Piper used to do this. Where somebody would pin him and they'd get a 2 count. And then they'd start to get up and he would look over, he's like, 2? And like, and they'd poke him in the eye. I don't know why, but that one makes me laugh every time. He does it every fucking match, and it always makes me laugh. I don't see him as a MGTOW. Well, it's not like specifically MGTOW, but the whole genre. In the same way that like you don't really see me as a red pill guy. It's that same thing. Yeah, he talks mostly Gamergate stuff, but he's not like what's that dev guy? Short Fat Otaku. But he's not Tyler the Fiend, but he's in that same aesthetic field, if that makes sense. Merry Christmas, Boxing Day, Yalda holiday, or whatever you Canucks are doing these days. I don't know what we're doing. To be fair, our country is the most demoralized country I think I've seen, short of like Rhodesia. Like Rhodesia right at the end. It's just like, there's a speech, I think I showed it on the one live stream where Polyev, and it's at the point that everybody knows he's going to be prime minister. It's just a matter of when. Like even the Americans are just talking to him now, and he's just the leader of the opposition right now. And then Canadians are like, dude, when Americans know what our prime minister's name is, that's bad. When they know what the leader of our opposition's name is, that's fucking really bad. Like the fact that Americans know who these people are, that's dangerously bad. That's how fucked we are right now. But yeah, it's like very demoralized. And he had this great like heartfelt speech, and he goes, there's 2 types of Canadians I run into. And the first type is, if you don't win this next election, I'm leaving the country. And he goes, and I'm like, he's not wrong. The girl and I are making the effort to try and get down to the States. I think there's nothing more American than being a Canadian who's tired of being taxed, and so he moves to the US. I think it's like the American dream, and I'm actually kind of it's going to be a long, hard road. Apparently it's much easier. It would be much easier as like an African national to get down there. They actually have some diversity lottery stuff. I can't, but all the stuff is banned from Canada, so it's like we're probably one of the more difficult countries to get to the US with. Ryan's a philosopher, just accept it. Oh, dear God. Problem is I hate philosophers. That's the thing. It's like calling me a philosopher is like calling me smart. It's like, fuck you. Anyways, it goes, but the other type are the ones that like I can't leave because like, they can't afford it. They have no skills, whatever. And so his whole speech, it's like a 10-minute speech saying, and oh, dude, it's like, I don't know if the person's real or not, but he was talking about this waitress in her 50s. I know the type, like divorced, maybe some bad decisions, but like, yeah, she had to work 3 jobs and she just wanted some time to enjoy. So she quit the 3rd job and then canceled every creature comfort. Just like, I just want to be able to live and to be able to sit at home and not have to work 70 hours a week. And then she went outside and then they stole her car. And I was like, damn it. He hit all the points of it. It was like a tearjerker, man. It really was. But yeah, we're very demoralized. Socrates was asking for it. Yeah. Anyways, so that's where Canada is right now. Everybody in Canada wants to leave. Too cold. Well, that's the thing. The cold wouldn't be bad. I don't mind the cold. It sucks, but I kind of like the fact that it's cold, it's dark. You kind of sit here. You have your Radiohead phase for like a couple months, then you get back into Jamiroquai or whatever. But the point is, like, if I'm putting up with all this weather stuff, I want that nice Canadian lifestyle, the chance of growth and stuff. And that was just all. They gave it all away. They're still giving it away to minorities. Like, we're renting out entire hotels just to seat Khalistani terrorists. It's just insane. So when you become an American citizen, will you play Hulk Hogan's I'm a Real American song? I don't even know. Isn't that almost cliche? When you get your citizenship, the guy dresses in like an American flag jumpsuit, start blasting Bruce Springsteen on the thing. I don't think I want to be that guy. I think I just want to I'll just quietly disappear somewhere on the southern Great Lakes or in like South Dakota or something like that. Just pull a Clary. Fucking thanks, guys. I'm out of here. Dev, $5 heartfelt super chat. Smoking a deconstructed turkey, a pineapple ham, cornbread stuffing, and collard greens with smoked turkey trails for tomorrow. I have to work on Christmas. Dude, that's crazy. What the hell is a deconstructed turkey? Does that just mean you're carving it before you cook it? Is that just shake and bake? Oh, dude, I almost forgot. We got to get these ads out of the way.
We know that these videos really prey on vulnerable young men who have not had many experiences in dating.
I will talk to you on the Discord, our attorney. Yeah, let's talk. Oh, hey, since we're on like fucking ornery bitches.
I've talked to Ryan Stone once. I'm pretty sure the whole conversation, I pushed him like pretty hard.
What was hard, Ariel?
The therapist will essentially give them SSRIs, which I think the sexual effects that SSRIs have on the body, right?
Some. There's tons of like MAOs and like tricyclics that you're talking about, like the type of SSRIs that used to be given to pedophiles. We don't give those to men. But he's not as informed as like I think he would like to be. Yeah. So I used to be a pretty strong feminist. I've actually become a feminist again. Feminists, though, can be some of the worst people you'll ever meet. They can be like some of the most nasty. They'll take advantage of contradictory world values, right? Worldview, which is that like I'm talking about like psychology and mental health for men, and yet I'm in a field that like is overly feminized and shoving drugs down men's throat. And I'm like, I'm still recommending it because I don't want to lose like the baby out with the bathwater. Just because not all therapists are well trained to work with men. Just because a lot of therapists might even be biased against particularly like incel type men. If they hear misogynistic language at all, they might like shut you down. So and it was just difficult because I didn't want to be like super like nasty and mean or anything.
One of the guys who ran the Red Pill channel sent me a message. I actually appreciate that you took it from an idea-based perspective instead of ever resorting to personal attack. Like, if this movement is actually going to be dangerous, do we need to understand it so that we can take it down? I knew going into it that this might be a hot mess. I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
I'm a bigger red flag than a white guy with a podcast. I'll wait.
I am not impressed. I will have you know, I'm like 80% white. The podcast is goddamn good, and I don't want you anyway. You got random Iroquois art and not art on your walls. You're not my type, sir. Or madam. I don't know, you're allowed to say any more? I have no idea if any of these people are still a thing. I really don't. I don't really pay much attention to it. I know it's like, dude, they're forefront of your mind all the time. It's like it's an ad I made 3 years ago. I just push a button every week and then we all get a laugh. That's as far into it as I need to look. Yeah, whamming, am I right? The only reason people like vacationing in the tropics is because it's a vacation, and you'll enjoy a vacation to a cold place too because of a vacation when you're not living there. Oh, dude, one of my favorite Christmas vacations that we took was it's up in Pickering. There is a cabin out there for a guy. You remember that? I can't remember what the movie's called, but it's the guy who found all these geese and he kind of became his family. And then he built himself a glider to teach them how to fly south for the winter or whatever. Anyways, it was cabin. We went out there. It was like no power, a wood stove. Like in the mornings at 3 a.m, I had to get out and grab firewood and fucking load up the thing, or we'll freeze at night and stuff. And it was like one of the more fun vacations. The dogs fucking loved it. They got to go jump out in the snow, freeze, and then come back inside and just sing out in the cabin all day. It was great. My girl broke her hand. Like first day. And I'm like, stop complaining. You sprained your finger. Then we get it back. She gets an x-ray. It's like, oh no, that's broken. She's like, I told you. Like, fair enough. Yeah, something like that anyway. It's funny too. That's like I did all the ads here of just chicks. But I agree. And I don't like the tropical one because it feels dead. Like salt water, the ocean water, it burns. And then the sun, it burns. And it's just like, it's not a place made for living. It's like a death trap. I don't like it. I much prefer temperate stuff. The Mediterranean was nice. Dude, Croatia was probably one of my more fun, as far as like weather goes, vacations. And oddly enough, like dry deserts. I don't mind deserts. I just hate the humid deserts. Unless it gets to like 50 degrees. That's way too hot. Anyway, so we're going to get all the dude ads out of the way here.
Boom, what's up, fam? Got some big news to share that unfortunately is not so good. So I'm going to jump right into it. You're going to watch this video and you're going to cry. At least we can laugh at your ass as you cry like in the corner like a little f***ing girl in the fetal position.
I love the way girls smell. I love how they always make sure, by and large, they shower, and they just have an amazing smell to them in general.
Hey, brother, who do you think is the funniest member of Rule Zero Squad? Now? What's your favorite comment joke of theirs? I think Ryan brings good laughs. He does. Ryan is like British humor. It's like Monty Python. People are like, if you get it, you laugh your ass off. If you don't get it, you're like...
Fuck Ryan Stone.
People just don't get his humor. Who's the funniest one on there? You mean besides John Fitch? I think John Fitch is the funniest member of Rule Zero, but he's unintentionally funny. One of the robot dogs. Seeing this robot dog in real life was pretty surreal and terrible. And Cappy's pretty funny. It can be pretty funny too. Who's the funniest member?
Here's a story of a cocky lady who thought her gold standard was legit. Then finally when she got an actual challenge, it all went to shit.
I don't usually post pictures of my kids online, but they're infants and you can barely see them, so it's fine. But a YouTuber named Ryan Stone tweeted, showing off the F trophies for clout. So the babies are trophies that I'm showing off. It's perhaps not a surprise that a picture of a proud father would be so upsetting to the sort of man who clearly never had one.
Boom, what's up?
Already got that one. All right, that's it for the ads. The rest of it is just Orion stuff. We'll save that for the end. Who's Monty Python? You did a cabin in the mountains of North Carolina, super middle of nowhere, clean air, clean skies, beautiful. Yeah, it's like a reset. I think a big part of vacation is just the difference, the change in like your general life pacing. Especially if you can slow it down. If you have like a very quiet, uneventful life, like peaceful, a very exciting vacation is probably exciting for you. If you have a very like fast-paced, more exciting life, a quiet one. Like for me, when the girl and I would go to the island, Vancouver Island, like you get off the plane, you take a deep breath, and then you realize like, dude, even if I'm just doing nothing today, like I just slow down. You're like, holy shit. Tell your mom not to dry out the turkey when I come over for Christmas. I love the eliminate low value people part at the end of the John Fitch ad. Yeah, I feel bad because it's funny because I know what he was doing. He was just talking about, if somebody's a drain on you, get him out of your life. But then I kind of was like, dude, that would really work well for the fucking robot dog stuff. Eliminate low value people from life. I'm glad the Real Zero guys have a sense of humor is all I'm saying. Because like between that and Rolo, it's like if you guys don't have a sense of humor, if you can't laugh at yourself, my ads would look extremely off-putting. Dr. Smith didn't like that. I could tell him, I was like, don't take it personal, Doc. I'm just poking a little fun. Yeah, and he's like, fuck this guy. Fair. So it'll be good. Oh, by the way, the Gattaca video is absolutely awesome right now. It's doing well. The part that I love about the Orion channel, at first I was a little skeptical. I'm like, dude, there's always like a mini 2-minute segment in there where I rant about how communist kids are ruining YouTube and they ruin movie reviews. And I was like, I don't know. This kind of seems like, am I doing the same thing Critical Drinker does when I'm just making fun of Critical Drinker for his bullshit? But every time I do it, I'm reminded, no, it's a good thing. Because I will get a 10,000 word essay from some fucking communist in there ranting about whatever bullshit. Oh, this is not a good look for you. Or like any of that like weird Gamergate argument stuff. It makes me fucking laugh every time. And I'm like, oh, copy, post. Found another one, guys. If you ever worried about finding communist in movie reviews, don't worry, they'll tell you. And the best part about it is no matter like how much engagement you give them, what you ask them, what they do, the only thing they refuse to talk about is the movies. They're just like, don't talk bad about communism. It's like, fuck off. Sounds like commie gobbledygook. Nonstop Dre, $2 super chat. Ryan seems like the guy to move to Europe over the USA. You'd think, no. Because here's the thing. If you would want to live in Europe, you would want to live in Canada. They have there's like a similarity there. But no, I've realized as I've gotten older, it really is about the freedom. Because everybody likes to make the European jokes. Like, look at these stupid Americans, the Florida man. Like, look at low-class bullshit. And I realize, like, this is the price of freedom. Like, if you're allowed to have the freedom without, well, not even to have it. See, it's even just the way I word it is such a Canadian fucking thing. If they give you freedom, it's when you're in a situation where you have full autonomy. Like, government isn't oppressively going against you, this, that, the other thing. There is a segment of people that are going to do stuff that you find absolutely abhorrent. But that's kind of like it's a good thing. It's that this exists, which means you're fine. Like if Florida man starts getting cracked down on, that's when you have to worry. And that's the one thing that America does, I think, better than Europe. Canada is better than Europe, but America's best. And that's the part I like about it. It's like, yeah, if you want to be a fucking idiot, you want to ruin your life, fill your boots. It's not my job to be your fucking nanny. I was going, how awesome is that? How awesome is that? Anyways, Nonstop Dre, yeah, seems like I'd move to Europe. I like visiting Europe. I like spending time in Europe. I don't want to move to Europe. Plus, I'm not Islamic, so whatever. Oh. Yeah, and it's just yeah, more. So that's it. That's my pro-America speech for today. Every piece of shit in America is proof that America is great. Outside of taxes, I have no interaction with the Austrian state. Oh, yeah, dude. Let's not even get into that. Once people are telling me about how bad taxes are, like what are the two worst states for taxes? California and New York. And the way you guys describe them, that would be like, it's like 15% better than Canada. The worst states in America. I'm like, oh, man. Everybody's like, yeah, America, U.S. or New York's like the nanny state this, nanny state that. It's just horrible. And they overtax. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, dude, that sounds great. And that's what I realized. We're fucked. We're fucked. Well, France wouldn't work for me. Even if I wanted to move to France, France wouldn't work for me because when I learned French, I learned Quebecois French. And as much as it's fun to make fun of France, France has one really amazing quality about them that I think cannot be appreciated enough. They keep the Quebecois in their place. Because a guy will come over there with perfect, like Ville de Quebec, the very smoothest of the Canadian French. And they'll walk there and they'll talk to a French guy like, oh, you're from Quebec, aren't you? Ugh. And I'm like, liberté, fraternité, what's the other thing? Yeah, good for them. Impossible to die. Well, it's impossible to die here, even if you're homeless. But okay, we're gonna have to end the show. We're at the end, but dude, the homeless encampment is gone from my place. This is a personal thing. I don't know if you care. It doesn't matter. We're at the end. If you're here, you're still here. They finally got rid of the homeless encampment, and you know what did it? Mildly uncomfortable winter weather. The generator is still out there. The security guard left, and the homeless people are gone. I'm like, that's great. Oh, you really didn't know what Monty Python was? You know what Monty Python is. They were like the British sketch comedy out of the 70s. They were like the greatest thing ever. Yeah, Life of Brian, Holy Grail. It's like, yeah, it's any comedian now that you know, like, got their start from there. Kids in the Hall, the greatest Canadian sketch comedy that's been out there, got their start from, like, watching old that there. And you're like, what are these guys? You know them all. You know Dave Foley. You know, like, they've all been on SNL. They've all been on this. The SCTV was based on that. Everything that's been funny. SNL largely ripped off. I would not ripped off, but kind of made their own version of like Monty Python. Like, let's do this American style. You know what I mean? The French ruin everything, and that's not always a bad thing. Anyways, we're going to watch some ads. By the way, yes, I have added to the list my my signed Donnie Benet poster, along with my Brian Pillman Jr. one. This is pre Lexus King, by the way, so that's pretty cool. Where like you're never going to find that again. Yeah. Anyways, let's do the ads, and then we will call it an episode. And then I got to find who did the Rule Zero.
Do you like kung fu? Do you like hardcore action, big explosions, and 7-foot-tall aliens? How about a gritty crime drama or a buddy cop movie? Do you want witty one-liners, laser guns, a double cross, gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? 80s karate fights, fast car chases, and 90 minutes of a great time? Well, I have 4 words for you. I come in peace. Now, Mr. Do you love science fiction but hate how it's not masculine enough? Do you yearn for those simple, timeless stories? Stories that resonate with something deep in your soul? What the? Stories, perfectly told. A movie that doesn't have to keep your attention with giant explosions, sarcastic banter, gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome. A movie that will make you tear up so much that you have to pretend it's lame and laugh so that your friends don't think you are a sissy. Well, I have the movie for you. We bring you the greatest movie that aged like a fine Romulan ale. It's the movie where Moby Dick meets Charles Dickens, meets the duelists, meets a science fiction western, meets our own awareness of our mortality. In Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Do you like karate? Do you like intense action, foreign lands? Do you like revenge? Do you like gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? Have you ever watched a movie then decided you needed to beat your brother's ass after watching it? Well, we have the film for you. A movie so action-packed and emotionally resonant that it hits harder than your parents' funeral.
This is for the life you stole from me, you bastard!
Inspired by the best parts of a dozen different action movies and the timeless grace of the Chinese opera, the breakout role of international film star and Taibo master Billy Blanks, I bring you The King of the Kickboxers, 1990.
What is this one? It's a blue light. What does it do? Turns blue.
Do you love action but hate pinko commies?
What the?
Do you yearn for an age where we were the good guys and had clear bad guys without some deconstruction about maybe the real evil is the friends we made along the way? Simple and effective stories. Stories perfectly told. A movie that has refined its genre to the point of perfection. Not a line of dialogue out of place, not a wink to the audience. Unironic awesomeness. A movie where you ram a tank into a helicopter for no reason other than it's awesome. A movie that lets you know it's okay to bring a bow and arrow into a combat zone. Do surgery on yourself with nothing but a campfire and a knife. Well, I have the movie for you. In the age of peak Hollywood genre, with the greatest action movie ever conceived, with Oscar award-winning actor Sylvester Stallone, creating action Americana that's so good you'd swear it was propaganda. It's the pinnacle of movies if you like movies with witty banter.
And the ideas? They're rounding themselves.
Cool one-liners.
Who do you think this man is? Good. Oh, God, would have mercy. He won't.
Over-the-top violence, indulgent pain, and the perfect mix of mindless action and mindful characters. This is their uncle who showed up at Thanksgiving to piss off your sister who returned from university to lecture you on racism. It's the peak of action in Rambo. Rambo 3.
Who are you?
Your worst nightmare.
Last one.
I took my mind off the pain by reminding myself I'd be exactly 2 inches closer to the stars.
Wait, I think I showed that one already. We're just gonna skip that. I found the Rule Zero one. It's John Fitch. I'm gonna be there, but I gotta be a little bit late because I got something I gotta do first. So it'll be good. This ad is essentially pre-workout. Oh yeah, dude. Like I said, dude, get on the Orion channel. If you're not there, get on there. Look, here. youtube.com/Orion2. Subscribe, get on there, you'll enjoy it. Look, it's fun, it's entertaining. It's already doing really well. Like, it's finally hit the point that it's the first month where it hit the same views as this channel did. I really am going to have a lot of fun with it. You guys are going to love it. It's all polished, it's finished stuff. Praxeology Volume 3. If you haven't got it, get it. Good. Fuck Files. I think I'm running like a certain type of sale they do where like they keep dropping the price until it hits a certain point, then they put it back up. And then I'm taking that one off the market. I'm re-releasing it under the new name. Fuck Files is coming out end of the month again with some additional stuff, enough for you. And after that, Dog Walker's coming out. So it's going to be very exciting. Just get in on it, man. Like, there'll be all the wham and stuff. That's not going anywhere. But this will be more. It's like you can finally start fucking enjoying yourself. You know what I mean? I really hope you guys start enjoying yourself from this. I've worked my ass off to get there. It's very fucking good. I've got some of the best people out there. And I'm gonna go meet with my red-pilled lawyer to talk about immigration lawyers, because yeah, the O3E3 process, dude, it's a lot. But I will catch you guys later. John Fitch is doing the Christmas special. It's gonna redirect right there, so just stick with this. Enjoy yourselves. I'll catch you on the next one.
'79T 2458 Learning Corp, Little Red Riding Hood, take one.